Coming up next, I'm going to show you how to take inventory of where you are in multiple areas of your life. And I'll tell you how to get a promotion at work. And we take your calls and your chat questions. It all starts right now. I am coming to you live from Ramsey Solutions Studios in Nashville. And you are joining a conversation about who you are, what you were created to do, where you can do it, where you want to do it, and then how do you get there? How do you scale that mountain? How do you get to that pinnacle, that professional pinnacle called the dream job? Does the dream job exist? Yes, it does. Is it existent in multiple different career paths? Yeah, probably. It's not the big mythical journey that it seems like, and it's very important. It's not about money and success. It's about purpose, your why. And your why is that you were created to fill a unique role in your work, through your work. You are needed, you must do it. I want to help you figure out your sweet spot. Another way of looking at the sweet spot is your contribution area or zone. And it starts with getting clear. Maybe reaffirming some things, maybe giving you that boost of confidence that what you've been dreaming about is in fact not a mirage, but a real dream and it is doable. Getting clear is doing the self-assessing with my help of figuring out what you do best. That's your talent. The work you love to do just for the work itself. That's passion. And then the results that make your heart swell, that you want to produce, to contribute to the world. That's your mission. Talent, passion, mission. You use your talent to perform your passion to achieve the mission. So let's help you figure out where you are on the 7 stages. Get clear, get qualified, get connected, get started, get the dream job. Get started, get promoted, get the dream job, give yourself away. Where are you on those 7 stages? That's the climb to your professional pinnacle, your dream job. 844-747-2577, 844-747-2577. Now, we're going to talk in that context every day on some level about the marriage of the personal purpose and professional purpose and your life and work and how they weave together. Today, I want to go through something that I discovered many, many years ago. And on a yearly basis, I do what I consider to be life inventory. And I'm going to teach you a little bit on this today, how to do life inventory. Now, this life wheel that I'm going to introduce you to today was created by Paul Meyer, who is the founder of Success Motivation Institute. And essentially what he did was he instructed to, and of course they have pictures of this, and Nathan, I should have got you a visual of this. But it's very simple. You would draw a circle and you would divide the circle. So think of the old pizza, the 8 slices. And so that circle is divided up into 8 equal slices. The categories: family, health, career, fun, relationships, romance, finances, spiritual. I'll go through those again. Family, health, so think family or relationships. Those are 2 separate, sorry. Family, health, career, fun, relationships, romance, finances, spiritual. Now, quick pause. If you only want to do 6 slices, that's fine. It's your pizza, if you will, right? It's your wheel, but those were the original categories. And the idea here is that you would rank your satisfaction in each of the areas. So if you think about family, how do I feel about my family goals and family, or what are our relationships within our close-knit family? How am I doing with my family time? And so you'd rank it. 1, awful, 10, great. And you go to your health, your career, outside the family relationships, romance with your spouse, your finances, your spiritual journey. Again, you can pick the categories. You want 8, great. If you want 6, fine. You want 5, whatever. But I think it's very important every year to at least once take an inventory of where you are in the very important areas of your life. Another way of looking at this is what I value. These are the areas of my life that I value deeply. How's my progress? How do I feel like I'm doing? And so if you're a 3, you got some room, a lot of room to grow. It's essentially looking at that gap between 1 and 10, 1 being awful, 10 being awesome, ideal. Now, notice I didn't use the word perfect. I think that's a bad scale, but just ideal. Awesome, ideal versus suck. Hey, there you go. And when you begin to see the gap, here's what this exercise does for you. Let's just take health. Let's take your physical health. If you look at things, you go, I don't feel like I'm eating healthy. I don't feel like I've got energy. Maybe I'm overweight for my body type. Whatever the situation is. And you rank yourself. Here's a gap between suck and ideal. And what it does is it allows you the opportunity to refocus once you've assessed. That's why this exercise is so wildly powerful for growth. Well, this is what have I assessed myself. It's nobody else telling me this. I'm assessing. And this is the gap. Now, what do I need to do to close the gap? What do I need to do to go from a 3 to an 8? Is going from a 3 to an 8 possible in a short amount of time, or is it going to be medium range or long range time? All of this begins to become very clear. This is a common sense exercise, but it's very, very important. And I really recommend that you do this at the end of each year, if nothing else, to begin to say, okay, this is where I am at the end of this year. This is where I would like to be at the end of next year. And along the path of a year, revisit and go, am I making progress? But before you begin to measure progress, you first must actually intentionally do something to move the needle. So in your health, what habits, what eating habits, what exercise habits do you need to instill? What habits do you need to develop that will allow you to have long-term success and sustainability? It's really a great exercise. So I highly recommend it. Again, you could do whatever categories you want, but I think this is a great exercise. Now, I will tell you this. Those of you who are married, those of you who have kids, this is a great exercise as a spouse and a parent to do, and have your spouse do it as well and say, okay, where do we collectively think we are? Because that is vital to next level living. Just simply being aware. Self-awareness can be a superpower, and it's a great exercise. I highly recommend it. 844-747-2577, 844-747-2577 is the number. You can also visit me at kencoleman.com. Follow me on Instagram for being encouraged, equipped, and entertained on a daily basis. We're having a lot of fun over there. You can also find me on Facebook. Search The Ken Coleman Show. All right, to the phones we go. Aaron is going to start us off in Tarpon Springs, Florida. Aaron, you're on The Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. How are you?
Aaron, I'm living the dream. How are you?
The same. Thank you.
Great. What's going on?
Well, I have a wonderful career as a physical therapist for the last 22 years, and I have a lot of things I'm passionate about. I'm on track to be debt-free within the next 6 months.
Yes.
I have 3 wonderful teenagers. The question I have is, I am having a real difficult time prioritizing and trying to take those passions and make them into business opportunities.
Oh, this is a fun call. I can tell you that right now. So, how to prioritize these passionate ideas and see which one we go after first. So let's go with these ideas. Let's list them out. How many are we looking at today?
Quite a few.
Oh,
so you
boy.
want me to start from the top?
Well, it depends how much time we have. How many are we talking about?
There's probably 4 or 5.
Okay, let's go for it. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Give me number 1.
Okay. The first one is I am a musician and play the violin and sing. So the music has always been something that's been in the forefront. So music and taking my doctoral presentation that I did in my doctoral program as a physical therapist and changing that into a business opportunity.
All right, hold on. So hold on. So number 1 is violinist and singer.
And songwriter, yes.
And songwriter. And number 2 is this doctoral, your own business as a physical therapist.
Actually taking that and actually branching out and doing more education in terms of podcasts and
good.
Taking that into educating the community.
Okay, great. So I'm going to call that physical therapy content, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3.
I guess we could just do those two because that's probably.
Oh, I like it. So you've already whittled down 4 or 5 to 2. What happened? What changed?
Well, I think that there's multiple things within those two things. That with the music, I led worship for 10 years and deciding whether or not to go back into doing that.
Okay.
And then just spending more time doing the songwriting.
Okay.
So there's multiple things within those two ventures.
I got it. Okay. So I wrote down worship leader. And then, of course, we've got singer, songwriter, artist under music, right? Am I getting that?
Yes.
Okay.
You are.
All right. And then on the physical therapy content side, give me just a little bit more on what the multiple things are there. Are you talking about the podcast, maybe a blog, a book, something along those lines? Is that what you mean?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Got it. Well, so that's good. I can keep. So really we're talking about two ideas, two main areas of passion, and there's multiple things you can do within that. So, okay, I'm caught up. All right. And you love your job as a physical therapist. You work for somebody or do you work for yourself?
I love it. I work for a wonderful, large nonprofit hospital in Clearwater.
Okay, excellent. And I'm assuming you want to stay in that work for the time being.
I do, because that's what's helping. That's my stability for my family.
Yeah, but, well, it's a day job, dream job combo. I like this.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, great.
Absolutely.
Let me ask a silly question. It may not be so silly. Is it possible that the answer is all of the above? It's not A or B, it's C, all of the above on some level. Is that possible?
Absolutely. It's just finding the time to be able to do it and feel like I'm moving forward with all of them.
Well, and that's what I wanted to address. So I'm glad you said yes, because that was my idea. And so I don't think it's finding the time. I think it is choosing the season. I think that's the new narrative. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. That's how I've loved my life.
Yeah.
It's a season.
Yeah, because how old are the kids?
19, 16, and 14.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're a little bit ahead of me, but I've got a 15 and 12 and 12. And it's going so lightning fast, isn't it? I mean, it's crazy.
It is. It's a nonstop. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's a season thing, but I think that you can dabble in both on purpose. So because you're so clear and it is all of the above, I think it's choosing how to dabble on purpose. So of the two, the music expression and all the opportunities there, and then the physical therapy content, is there a leader on the scoreboard? If you had to rank one, is there a leader as to, if I told you, okay, Aaron, you can do all of these, but it's a season thing, not all at the same time to the level that you probably want to do them. I can give you more. You got to choose, but we can get one going a little bit faster than the other. Which one would you choose?
I think in order to keep moving forward, to pay off my debt, and to do, and it would be the doctoral capstone content podcast.
Yeah.
And then I have songwriting groups that I continue to write with. So that can definitely,
see, you know what I call that?
I want to make sure that I prioritize for that.
Yeah, but you know what that is? That becomes an artistic, intentional hobby. So you keep engaging with those groups like that, but you're not trying to do a whole bunch with it. If something develops out of that certain amount of time that you need to give to that, just keeps your soul fired up in that specific area of passion, because you love doing that kind of work, that creating. But if something develops, wonderful. But I think right now, you're going to have to, you have limited time. So whatever you're already doing there, if you can add little something to the music side, great. But you've got X amount of hours. So I'm not going to make you walk through all the details because you can do this on your own. But your homework assignment is to go, how many hours a week do I have outside of my job and my family? How many hours? So that is a finite amount of time. And so that becomes our block. And I'm just going to use this as an example for easy numbers. Let's say it's 15 hours. It might be 20. I don't know. But you look at that block of 15 hours and we go, okay, I'm already doing this writing group and I do that twice a month and it's this many hours. You just play with it like a budget. Then you take that 15 hours a week and you do times 4, right? And so that's 60 hours in a month. And we go, I'm going to budget those 60 hours each month. And so I'm going to end up giving 10 hours to the music thing with that little writing group that I do and blah, 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 blah. Maybe I lead worship once a month, or I'm on the worship team once a month, whatever. And then you walk through, okay, I've got, so if I'm going to do that for 10 hours, now I've got 50 hours to give to creating content around my physical therapy doctoral project, essay. I'm sorry, I'm not saying that right, but you know what I'm going with here. And so what you do is you go, okay, I'm going to launch a podcast. And I'm going to launch a website with the podcast, and I'm going to do a certain amount of social media content. But I think it's just you budgeting those hours, and you put a little bit more into the physical therapy content to be able to generate side hustle money and some mailbox money down the road, and even maybe some really awesome options. And then once the kids, are kind of gone and moving on or whatever that looks like, or they get more involved, the youngest one gets more involved, one leaves the house, now you're down from 3 to 2. Then you decide, okay, I've got a little bit more hours, and you redo that budget of time. I just think that's the way to do it all.
Absolutely. And then if it happens to be, I went to grad school to support my music habit. So that, I gave the physical therapy the priority, but if it was music, I would just change that around.
Change it around.
If and go and continue to work towards that, taking the inventory as you were talking about earlier.
Yeah. I just think you have limited amount of time. All parents do, certainly moms, working moms. And I think that when you realize there are seasons where I'm going to be able to give more hours to music, there are seasons where I'm going to be able to give more hours to the physical therapy stuff. I just think it keeps you feeling like I am doing it all. I'm just not doing it all at once to the level that I want to do. That's impossible, and that creates a lot of confusion and frustration. So I think that perspective with that kind of practical budget of time, I think you're going to be so rewarded by that. And you can change it anytime you want. You're in charge.
Just want to stay healthy doing it.
And that's the way to stay healthy, is to guard yourself and go, look, realistically, if I do more than 15 hours a week, 60 hours a month, I'm crossing some boundaries. So it's very simple.
Yeah. And definitely empowering the kids to do more to free up some of the time for myself as well.
Yeah. My wife and I are in that season right now trying to figure that out. You know what I mean? We're trying to figure that out too. And so you got this. I gave you the formula. That'll work. I promise. Thank you so much for the call. 844-747-2577. Elijah is up next in Mitchell, Indiana. Elijah, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Howdy. Thank you for taking my call.
You bet. How can I help?
Okay. So I work full time, making not quite as much money as would be comfortable. Bills are tight. We're trying to start on the baby steps. I've been married for a year. I'm 21. My wife is 19.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a house, and I just received a job offer to make more money, but there would be no benefits, and I would be away from home 4 days a week, overnight.
Uh-oh. No baby yet, though. Just you and the wife?
That's right.
Okay. And how much more money than your current job?
Okay. Right now, I make $18.75 an hour, and the offer was from $25 to $30 an hour.
Hey. All right. So, have you done the exercise and run those numbers on? It'd be kind of a good exercise if you haven't. Have you done here's what I would do at $25 an hour, and let's say split the difference, $27 an hour, and then $30 an hour. Have you run those numbers?
I have not yet.
Okay, that's homework assignment number 1. And do you have somebody who does your taxes?
No, I usually do my taxes myself.
Okay, good. Because when you're running those numbers, I want you to look at how you can do a pretty good estimate of the taxes on that. So you're going to be able to get a ballpark idea what your take home is going to be, correct?
Right.
Okay, great. So I think you start with that. Here's why I want you to do that. The benefits thing seems very scary, certainly to a 21-year-old and a 19-year-old, right? You guys are new to this world. You're going, oh gosh, I got to have benefits. And you don't necessarily have to, because you can get your own insurance. But what you've got to do is Step 1 of that homework assignment I just gave you. Step 2 is go do your research on the healthcare opportunities that are out there. Okay. And you get things like Christian Healthcare Ministries, which, is a partner of the Dave Ramsey Show. That you look into stuff like that. That's non-traditional healthcare. See if you qualify for that. See if you can live with that. But I mean, again, there are options. And so what you do is now you see what is it going to be out of pocket? Whatever you choose, what are my out-of-pocket costs for insurance going to be? Is your wife working?
No, she's not.
Well, she's 19. Why not? You don't have any kids. Yeah. Get her working too. Guess what? If she starts working just an hourly job, 40 hours a week, that's new income. That pays for your health care.
Yeah.
So we saw this one pretty quick. Elijah, take the job. Do you want the job? Okay. I guess I should ask you if you want the job.
Yeah, I think so. Right now, what I'm doing, I kind of took this job out of necessity. I had to get out of my last job. It was too stressful, and they were just kind of running the place into the ground, so I had to get out of there. So I just kind of took this job out of necessity and took a pretty hefty pay cut.
Right. So this gets you back to where you were or close?
It actually gets me above where it was at.
Hey, Elijah, let's go, man. Act like good things are happening, because they are. Let me hear a little juice in your voice, man. Come on, you're 21. You're 21. You got a job offer to make more money than you've ever made in your young life. Let's go. Because here's the deal. Here's why I want you to take it. It gets you more stable. I want you to tell your wife, and by the way, this is on YouTube, so you can have her watch the replay of the show.
Yeah.
And she can just hear it from me. Sweetheart, you need to go work. This is the time for y'all to stock some money up, right? And let's go. And then I want you guys to keep listening to the show. And I want you to figure out what your dream job is and figure out how to get on that ladder. Maybe this job gets you on the ladder. Does it?
Yeah, I'd say it definitely gets me closer.
Come on, man. When are we accepting the job? When is this going to happen?
Yeah. Yep. Though my biggest concern wasn't even the benefits. My biggest concern was basically just being away from home overnight 4 days a week. You
guys can handle it. You're newlyweds and you don't have kids. Now's the time to do it.
Okay.
Right? Date her on the nights at your home. Enjoy not having kids. This is for a season, is it not?
Yep. Yeah.
Of course. It gets you on the ladder. So maybe you do this for a year and you keep looking for what's the next step on the ladder. You guys can do this. All right?
Alrighty, thank you.
Hey, when are we accepting the job? Is it today? Is it as soon as you hang up with me? What's going on? I want to know.
I'll probably give this place where I'm at now. I'll probably give them a month's notice just because I don't want to. You
didn't hear what I said. When are you going to call these people and say, I'm taking the job? The answer is yes.
I can do it. I'll do it at the end of this week, probably.
Oh, for crying out loud. Why not today? I don't understand. Do it today and then give notice at the end of the week. But we need a deal before we give notice. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Call them today. Talk to the wife, then call them. How about that? I'm putting the pressure on you. This is a no-brainer yes. Some of you are going, why are you pressuring the poor kid, Ken? I'll tell you why. Because it's a no-brainer. And he already had some fear and doubt about it. And so when we decide but don't do, hear what I just said. We always make a decision to do before we do. Does that hold up to you, Joe?
Sure.
We always make a decision to do before we do. Now, it might be a split second before we do, but we always decide to do, then we do. Let me explain. I can decide that I'm going to jump off of a cliff into the water. Whee! Splash, right? But Joe, there's that moment where I think I'm going to do it, but I walk up, I see my friends jumping off into the water, having a big time, and I see that there's no rocks down there, no one's going to die. And so I'm getting more and more comfortable as I get up to the top of the cliff where I'm going to jump off. But at some point as I get up there and I toe the rock and I look down, I'm now going to decide. And it might be a minute, it might be a second after I decide that I jump. But I want y'all to understand that deciding to do is not enough. And I'm telling you that life works out a whole lot better. That once we decide, and this is with an asterisk here, that we are logically thinking through the situation, we are getting our facts, and we are making a decision that is a good decision. But once we decide, do it. Because if you decide and then decide to sleep on it, no, sleep on it before we decide. Once we decide, and if we don't do it, guess what? Life can happen. All kinds of things can happen. I can start to let doubt and fear creep back in, and I don't decide. And I don't do. This young man needs to talk with his wife one more time. Make sure we're both on the same page. That's good for marriage. And then decide, and then do. Call him immediately. The minute that you and your wife have the conversation, I'd call, email, hey, I'm taking the job. Don't let any air in between decision and do. I just think it's a bad idea. You put all of your deliberation and all of that on the front end before the decision. But once we decide, you better do it. 844-747-2577. Let's go to the chat room. Braden writes in, I have ADHD and I bounce from passion to passion. How do I know which passion is the one for me? I love this question because I have ADHD. Number one, stop blaming it on ADHD. ADHD does figure into the way that you make decisions. And it does figure into the way that you work, for sure. But ADHD doesn't affect the heart. ADHD is a brain thing. And so my exercise that I teach and get clear, which is stage 1 on the path to meaningful work. Okay? Get clear. When I know what I do best, my talent, and I know the work that I love to do, passion, and I know the results that I want my work to create, mission, well then what we do is we let the heart inform the work. The way we do it in the marketplace, right? We use what we do best to do what we love to produce results that matter. So where in the marketplace are those things? So if you've identified that properly, like I just taught and like I do teach, and you find multiple things out there in the marketplace, then what you do is you rank them. Get them on paper, 1, 2, 3, 4. Rank them. If I could only do one and succeed, which one would I choose? Let the heart inform that. Now the bouncing shouldn't happen because we've got ourselves a very clear destination. And when I hear that somebody's bouncing, it means that their head and heart aren't connected. So I want you to call the show, Braden. Call the show, and I'll walk you through this process that I just gave you. But again, it is the heart. ADHD is not a heart thing. So I got ADHD. And I can be focused and scattered at the same time, almost, simultaneously. But the things that I am focused on come from enjoyment, come from conviction. And so the ADHD doesn't affect my heart. It affects my brain. So do the heart exercise. Eddie writes in, hey, Ken, how do I get rid of the fear of pursuing something new? Well, here's how you deal with fear. Fear can protect us at times, but a lot of times fear is a lie. And so what I do to make sure that is this a healthy fear that's protecting me from touching the hot burner? Or is this fear all made up in my head? So what we do is we write the fear down. You got to get it out of your head onto paper so you can see it. This is a psychology exercise. We know that we process things better when we take a thought that's bouncing around in our head and I write it down, or you can tell somebody that you really trust. You can sit down and go, hey, I'm afraid of this. And you've got to define it very specifically on paper to somebody. At which point you're going to see, oh, this is the fear. And now let's play it out. Is this a legitimate fear? Am I going to die if I go whitewater rafting? There's a 0.00001 chance, or whatever it is. Okay. Probably not. Whatever it is. So what is the fear telling you? I'm going to fail miserably and be homeless and starve. That's the fear. Is that true? What would have to happen for that to take place? It's preposterous. You would have to do a lot of stupid things over and over and over and over again. Are you a stupid person? Are you going to do those mind-numbingly stupid things? Of course not. See, what we're doing here is we're putting the fear on the witness stand and we're questioning it, just like you see in these courtroom dramas. And we say, okay, this is what fear's saying. Is that true? There's no evidence that that's true. Oh, it's a lie. So I don't need to be afraid of this. This is something new. And then ask yourself the question, what do I need to be focusing on? If it's no longer the voice of fear, what do I focus on? Oh, I can do this, but I got to get qualified. And here's what it's going to take to get qualified. And here's how much it's going to cost. And here's how long it's going to take. Bum, ba, bum, 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 bum. And there it is. And so we go from truth to, from a lie to truth and clarity on how that truth is the truth. And that's how you deal with the fear and how you can step over fear. I want to point something out because I've taught this little 3-step process before about how to overcome fear and doubt. You will never get rid of fear and doubt. And the way this question is posed, I want to address that. Hey, Ken, how do I get rid of fear? Well, the answer is you will never be able to get rid of fear and doubt, or pride for that matter. However, that little 3-step process, identify it, put it on trial, and once you know the truth, focus on the truth, not what you were focusing on. That will help you overcome fear, doubt, and pride. It's kind of like this. Fear, doubt, and pride are always in our lives, but it's kind of like this. You're going to run into them. It's like, get out of the way, please. Get that little process. Would you please get out of the way? It's like we're trying to walk forward in life. And so you're walking forward and then fear tries to get in your way and goes, hey, you're not going any forward. I won't let you through. It's like, hey, would you please get out of the way? I got progress to make. So that's the process. That's how it works. 844-747-2577. Okay. So this week I've been teaching on some of the most searched career searches on the Google or on the internet. Okay. So I got our SEO team, search engine optimization team, to do some research. And so I've been teaching on all these topics. So here today is another one that a lot of people are searching. And so I want to give you the answer to your search, and you can share this part of the show by one click. Just click share right down below the window there and share it with people who need this. So here's one of the big searches. How do I get promoted at work? This is a huge search on the web. How to get a promotion at work. And so I want to give you a 3-step process. All right. And it's really, really simple. Actually, I'll give you 4 steps. But I want to run through these really quick. How do you get promoted? All right. Number 1, you're in. And now we go, okay, I want to be there long enough so that I can get promoted. What do I do right out of the gate? Number 1, you got to know your role. Now, what am I talking about here? Knowing your role. This is all about clarity. Am I clear on what my leader is expecting from me? Now, I'm not talking your job title. When I say know your role, I mean from the interview to the first day, you better be very clear. You and your leader better be on the same page that this is what we expect from you. This is a win. If you do these things, this is a win. Okay. That's what you have to get clear on. So I've got to have clarity in what they expect of me, because I've got to win the now in order to get the next. So we're talking about getting promoted as the next. So to win the now, so I can get the opportunity for the next, I got to know my role. That's clarity. Second, I've got to accept my role. I got to understand this is how I got in. This is the ticket to the dance. This is entry level. There's a reason they call it entry level. But I get a lot of people that call the show all the time like, Ken, I got to get in an entry level job. Like somehow you're better than that. It's like, no, you're not. But since when did we start looking down our nose at the entry level job? Wait a second. Let's look at that very description. Entry, you're getting in. It's like getting invited to that party in high school or college as you really want to hang out with this group of people. You'd like to be accepted by them. Boy, if I could just get into this group, I'll be accepted. You know, we've all been through that socio anxiety, right? That social anxiety, you know, oh, if I could just get invited to this party, we just hang out with these people. Okay, look, that's the entry level. You're in. Be grateful that you're in. So this is an attitude of gratitude. I am thankful because 6 months ago, I would have I can't even talk, Joe. I would have chewed off my right leg for this job. So I'm here. How about we be grateful? But I see this with a lot of young people. And by the way, this is not a millennial or mosaic Generation Z thing. So you baby boomers stop, and Gen Xers like me, stop beating up on these younger kids. This doesn't have anything to do with their generation. It has everything to do with being young. You were the same way. So shut up. But young people, they just want to get there now. That is called immaturity. It's called youth. It's every generation. It's normal. But you've got to have an attitude of, I want to be here. I'm here. I'm going to be thankful for that. I know my role, and now I'm accepting my role. And here's the third piece, maximize your role. So let's go back to that first to-do item. If I'm clear and knowing my role and what is expected of me, and I know what a win is, maximizing my role, the third to-do item, is all about going way above and beyond what they've expected of you and what they do expect. It's like you run the company. You own it. You're there early. You're the last to leave. You're helping coworkers. You're going above and beyond, doing extra things, looking to find ways to add value and not try to get credit for it and get more money for it. Just do it. Make yourself extremely valuable. That's what that third to-do item, maximize your role, is. And then fourth, develop yourself, develop your character, develop your likability. Be likable, become more likable, be coachable, meaning you receive instruction and correction well, be reliable, do what you say you're going to do, be somebody that they can count on, be adaptable, be okay with change, and finally, be honorable. Be a person of high integrity. If you do those things, you will never have to, in a healthy organization, ask for a promotion. In a healthy organization, the person who does those things and becomes those things that I just walked you through, you are by definition promotable, and you won't have to ever bang on somebody's door for an opportunity. People come to you and say, hey, we've noticed you. You've earned this, and we want to give you this opportunity because you're so valuable. That's all you got to do, folks. And sadly, there are 30 and 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds that have never figured that out. But I just gave you the goods. Hey, you think that helps you or helps somebody you know? Spread the word. Like today's show. Hit that share button. Fire it off and tell them at what point in the show I came on and did that. And they can watch it and it'll help them. Hey, I want to say a big thank you to all of you who are subscribing. The numbers are growing. The views are growing because people want this type of practical content to help them work on purpose. Thank you so much. All right. It is almost time for me to get out of here. But before I do, I want you to know that you matter and you do have what it takes. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, this is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.